speaking of amazing people, hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know you.
hi everyone.
Hello, welcome to the stream. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you all as well. First of all, amazing announcement video, by the way. That I was in the green room of this, and I was like, hold on, everybody. I'm pausing for 10 minutes like the chatter, and I'm just like over here while people are looking at my face. It was really great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. No, I was like, I needed because that was originally the Kickstarter video that I edited to like kickstart the thing, and then it had to like shift to become like a Nebula thing now.
As all things will.
But yeah, it was fun to do. Thank you so much. And by the way, I want to share this story real quick because I wanted to do this while Air was here. So Matt, I met you for the first time at a Nebula event that we were at, and we I did not know, I hadn't like put in together my brain because I know you had talked about it, but we both knew Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just chatting. It's like, oh wait, we both know Aaron. I have a meeting with Aaron that we're gonna be doing this week, and so I literally go on the call with Aaron, and we had planned for you just walk by in the background because Aaron had no idea that you were here.
It was so perfectly executed because it was legitimately exactly what both of you were hoping for, that I would be talking to Jessie on Zoom and this person just walks in the background and I'm like,
in a location where the connection of where I would be versus where Jessie would be was not like in the conversation at all. So that was very, very fun.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, I have a couple questions first and foremost. So actually, weirdly, Jessie, you told me about this project a little bit, and once we got the Aaron connection, I've chatted with you all about it a little bit. But like, how since I jumped behind your call, and then now it's sort of transitioned from a Kickstarter into a Nebula thing. What have been like? I mean, has there even been time to adjust, sort of like how you're going to go about what you're going about?
No, because legitimately we had the calls with Nebula last week, 2 weeks ago. Time is a flat circle, but it was like literally last minute. And then Aaron was like, "I'm going on the Star Trek cruise now," and so I was like, "Well, I will handle this live stream and making sure everything runs smooth." And that's been going good, but we haven't been able to like move things forward for the most part, just because Aaron's been gone and being a nerd. So,
well, I will say that I would say that probably the only thing that I'm most excited about is just there's that uncertainty with crowdfunding any film that you have to kind of wait to, start making calls and hiring people until you're going to be able to do it. Now we know we're able to do it. So now that I have recovered and slept for another 15 hours, I will start making calls.
Yes.
Speaking of not having to deal with an uncertainty, here's the man of the hour, Dave Wiskus.
The man who saved us. Well, not saved us, but he made it happen. Hello, Dave.
Dave, you need to turn your camera back on because Discord's silly like that.
So
I was in the middle of listening to Nando tell me about the season premiere of Mandalorian.
Oh my
god! And I'm never gonna know. I'm never gonna know what happened.
So
be a mystery for me forever. Oh, hey Matt.
Hello.
Be dangerous, Dave, because if you talk about Star Wars, I'll end up talking about Star Wars and not this actual project.
We'll just end up talking about Jessie my Star Wars video, which will be up on Nebula before it's up on YouTube. Just saying.
But
the only reason we were discussing it at all is because there's this Grogu behind me here, and I was explaining it's actually my wife's. It's not mine. I don't like. I have stormtroopers everywhere, but I don't like this. This was I won a bunch of GameStop points in a Mr. Beast video. Long story. And they only let you use $106 worth of points at a time. So for ages, I was just taking people to GameStop, like, pick out whatever you want under $106. And so my wife's like, I want this. I'm like, really? A Baby Yoda thing? She's like, yeah, it's cute. I'm like, you haven't even watched more than one episode of the show. She's like, I don't care. It's cute.
It's cute.
Okay, fine.
That's how they get you. It's cute and adorable.
Good
Who
enough.
does not love Baby Yoda?
Merchandising.
Exactly.
Yep. Good enough.
Well,
good enough.
Introduce yourself, Dave, for folks who don't know you. So.
Hi, I'm Dave. I am founder, CEO of Nebula and the talent agency behind Nebula Standard. I'm also, if you watch a YouTuber named Patrick H. Willems, I also play a version of myself on his show. And in the feature film Nebula original Night of the Coconut, directed by Patrick Willems. And I've got my podcast, NDA, which is me arguing with various creators and creator-like people.
You say arguing. I have a band. Generally, you're very. I found that you actually agree a lot of the time. I found.
Well, the arguing, it's a nice framework. It's a nice thing to say. We don't actually have to argue.
Yeah.
But, it's a clickbait thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the time, even if we disagree on things, it kind of comes down to finding the ways in which you agree on a thing you don't necessarily agree about. Because most of the time, it happens a lot where I'll end up in, like, not an intense debate, but, like, an impassioned discussion with somebody about something upon which we agreed like 99%. Mm-hmm. But Jesse, you and we had this experience not too long ago.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sitting.
Matt was there watching us.
I was there. I was just doing this.
we were arguing we were arguing about movie stuff, and I was just like, oh boy.
And the whole time it was like, neither of us cares about this. Not really.
Yeah.
So it was a safe space to argue, but that happens a lot where you end up in a conversation where it's not fun to just sit around agreeing with each other. Mm-hmm. And for creator economy podcasts, especially, can I swear on this?
Yeah, go for it. It's fine. Yeah.
I find that creator economy shows, podcasts are often, I don't know, circle jerk starfucker events where the host is just there to agree with whatever the guest just said because they want the guest to be their friend so that they can claim that they're friends with that guest because it gets them further into I just don't give a fuck. I just don't care. I'd rather bring on interesting people and disagree with them than bring on people that I wish were my friends and sit around kissing their ass.
No, that's totally fair. I mean, like, that's what I like. The problem that I have with a lot of spaces online is that it just generally creates like arguments that are there just to win, as opposed to actually having a discussion that ends up being productive and is about like finding some sort of consensus in the discussion. Not even like in the middle, but in the discussion itself. So.
Yeah. Like
it's between discussing a topic to try to learn more about it and understand more, and engaging in a game of competitive word.
Yes. Yes. I think the thing we can all agree on since roughly 2016 is the Devils have plenty of advocates. They do not need more. But finding the nuances, the cracks and crevices in the Venn diagram upon the things of which we agree or disagree, that is interesting. Because we can learn from each other that way. But just sitting around agreeing or sitting around arguing, neither of those sounds especially fun or interesting to me.
Yeah.
Arguing with the purpose of arguing is inherently futile, except for getting clout.
Exactly. Well, while Aaron is here, I also wanted to have you talk about coming in and being like, hey, we'll remove your entire Kickstarter anxiety, but also make you change your entire plan at the last minute by being awesome.
Well, I didn't. I think I said this before, but like, I'm sorry and you're welcome.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You have nothing to apologize for. It was just like, what? The night you sort of said like, oh yeah, don't worry about Kickstarter. We'll do this. We'll fund you. How about that? And I'm like, oh, okay. It was.
Well, you came in. You're. Can I tell the whole story?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. All right. So on our community Slack, one of the community guy, we have a code of conduct thing, and the code of conduct has a bunch of stuff you would expect about treating people with respect and like no attacking people for gender identity or body type or any of this kind of stuff. Good code of conduct.
That's what I attack people most for on that Slack, though. I attack people for gender identity all the time.
Vicious.
Sarcasm.
One of them is this isn't a space for, like, you can't ask people to sit, like, you can't come in for a signal boost. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't a place for creators to ask other creators for favors in that way. And the phrasing, when Jessie came in, like, I'm doing this live stream event, the phrasing was like just this far over the line. And so I sent a DM like, can we change this very slightly? Because I agree with what you're doing and I'd love to help. Is there like maybe one word we could change there so that nobody complains that a rule is broken or that I have to hear about it later? And in that conversation, the more I look at them, I'm like, wait, why are you doing this as a Kickstarter? Fuck Kickstarter. Like, how much do you need? Fuck it, let's just do it. I go over to it. I send a DM. It's like 11 p.m. or something, and I send a DM to our CFO. I'm like, hey, can I do this thing? And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, because of this. He's like, I guess. I'm like, great. Hey, Jesse, why don't we just do this as a Nebula original, and we'll figure it out from there? Especially because, like, we hadn't done, of all of the Nebula original things we've done, we haven't done something like this. We haven't done like a big kickoff live stream event where it's like an announcement and people are excited. This is kind of new and it's experimental. And now that we're doing all of our own marketing stuff, it's like, yeah, let's play around with this. Like, this is a cool thing. We could experiment. We can see how audiences react. And to be blunt, coming off of the success of The Prince and how well that was received by the community that you would expect, but also the broader community. There's a tempo set from the three biggest things we've done in the last year are Night of the Coconut, a sci-fi movie about a coconut trying to take over our universe, Jet Lag, a travel game show, and The Prince, which is a sci-fi trans Shakespeare metaverse sort of movie. But it's also a pro shot of a 5-week run of a theatrical play that won a bunch of awards. So, like, what do we do here? I thought this was to be educational. We sort of deviated from that. So something like this kind of fits, like, this kind of is in the center of the Venn diagram of what Night of the Coconut kind of was and what The Prince kind of was. And so I feel like the people who liked either one of those things would probably really like this. And there's a lot of opportunity here. And the people who felt represented by The Prince would probably really love this. And there's a bunch of business things that stack up in favor of doing a project like this. And the more we can support our own creators chasing after their dreams and doing cool projects, the better we all look, I think.
Yeah, no, legitimately, I think I said this to you in a meeting, but thank you for like doing this. Honestly, it is exciting and terrifying because it's also like, oh, I get to do the thing now and let's go do it. But like in a cool way. And I am very thankful to you and to Nebula for making this thing happen. Like legitimately, I'm very excited.
Well, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Give me the bad news.
Well, I think I have to give you the good news first. The good news is, yeah, this is in our philosophy and this is in our ethos and this is kind of who we are and what we want to do. The bad news, if you want to look at it that way, is even if you approach this cynically, doing a project like this is still the right business decision. And what I take away from that is how lovely is it that even in the era of we're all starting to agree capitalism bad, or at least capitalism imperfect, isn't it nice that there are occasions when what is the right business decision and what is just the right thing to do can be the same thing.
Yeah,
business doesn't have to be cynical.
Yeah. I mean, I am very much more on the capitalism bad end, but we will. but I will alienate everyone, but I will make cool projects with stuff, and I appreciate you being the one to like do this sort of thing and promote these sort of things. Like legitimately, like even without doing this project, seeing The Prince was amazing. I got to see it a little bit early because I did a Q&A with Abby for stuff. And it was just like,
how great was The Prince?
It was so.
The Prince is phenomenal.
It's legitimately fantastic.
Oh my god!
One of the best things I've seen in a long time.
Which,
if you haven't watched it, chat, you
gotta watch it. And also,
it's seriously good. Actually, I might say don't watch it yet. This is not an announced thing, but we're doing. We're making some tweaks to the audio quality. There were some glitches in production.
I saw that. Yeah.
There was some there was some stuff. It wasn't bad enough to be showstopper, and we had already announced the release date, and so we kind of felt like this is theater and the show must go on. But
it's
we
pro shot, like even Hamilton's pro shot had audio issues in some spots.
I actually kind of liked that stuff because it made it feel very theatery. Like theater has that sort of weird mistakes in it. I actually had a question about that when I interviewed Abby about it, and she's like, I haven't seen the edit yet, so I don't know at the time that we did the interview. But I was like, oh, I actually kind of like that because it like makes it feel more theatery. But
well, it won't be perfect, so good news there. But we felt that it was an important enough piece of art that it deserved to be properly preserved. And so we're putting in another couple of weeks of post-production to get it, a little bit more shined up. It's kind of a remaster a little bit. Yeah. And there's going to be an entire behind-the-scenes documentary and some other bonus stuff that comes out in probably a few weeks. This isn't announced, so this is kind of a soft announcement. I didn't. If you're listening on the stream, You didn't hear this from me. But
Yes,
yeah, there's
no.
gonna be more cool stuff. There's gonna be more cool stuff there. Yeah, I'm pretty excited
Cool.
about that.
But
No, but I think it speaks greatly to your company and your ethos that you were just like, yes, go forth. Go forth. This is a cool project. We want to support it. It helps us, but mostly like we want to help you and we want to make sure that you can do this the way you want to. And that means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
no, legitimately.
We had talked about it ages ago as like a full series thing, and the economics at the time it was tough to make it was tough to fully build a bridge there. And then as the project kind of changed on your side, and as obviously things changed on our side, by the time we came back to it, and I saw the pitch video and the setup again, it's like, actually, I think we could do this in this newer framework of like, do this first and then see where it can go. Like, actually, I think we could do this. Let's make this happen. And then it was a very quick conversation where Jessie's like, I think the answer is yes, but just so you know, I have to completely redo everything.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, no, I again, don't apologize. Good problem to have. I was just sort of like, welcome to my neurodivergent brain where it's like, all right, I have everything set. It's all good. Oh, we're going to completely change the track now. I have to readjust my entire thinking for the next month. Good problem to have, and I love it.
What was great was Jessie then told me, like texted me, because it was the evening and stuff, and then we had a call first thing in the morning, and I'm like 24, maybe 48 hours from like stepping on a boat for a week, during which time the Kickstarter was going to be announced. And she was like, let's get on the call, and we chatted, and I was like, okay, this all sounds good. This sounds great. We'll have a call later. And I was like, Jessie, I think I just need to go for a walk. This is a lot to process. My brain is kind of fried right now.
No, I did the same.
Jesse,
legitimately,
when it was
oh, yeah.
happening, Jesse and I were talking, and then we hopped in a call because you were like freaking out.
I legitimately freaked out. I was like, oh my god!
Just come and like calm you down a little bit, and you were so anxious, specifically about having to change things around with the like announcement stuff and videos, and I was just like, Jesse, take the win. Like,
well, it's
take the win.
It's so funny because, you know, again, just you know, being part of Nebula, seeing this sort of like I saw that conversation, Dave and Jesse, like a little like the public facing side of that in real time when it was going on, and
I
in my head
openly in the Slack.
and I was like, oh yeah, Nebula's gonna fund this. Like in my head, I was just like in my brain, I was like, this feels like a is it going this direction? It's going this direction, and I was like, all right.
Well,
like,
so the conversation took place in private, and then once it was clear that like, oh, we know what path we're going. I'm like, Jesse, can we sort of just do this in the channel? She's
did you redo it?
Great.
Did I see
and
a
so
play?
It was unscripted, but it was on rails. And there's like a performance to it, but we felt that it was like an important thing, an important signal to send to the rest of our internal community. Like, this is how a thing can get done. Like other people, if you have an idea that's good, like just bring it up. Let's talk about shit.
Yeah.
Well, the award goes to, because that was very, very good.
Well, to be fair, my responses were also like I was saying the same things that I said to Dave in a private chat, but I was legitimately still also in like, wow, this is actually happening. This is amazing, and I'm like so like overwhelmed at the moment. So like it was legitimately my real reaction, even though it was a sort of like performance of what was going on literally.
Of what was
actually
happening.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut in. This is a lovely chat, but I want to make sure that we get all of our guests on, because part of the point of the stream is to highlight different creators and things they're doing, and this space. So
this is why Aeronoc's moderating, because she's kicking butt. Which, by the way, we haven't had a chance to talk about you, Matt. Matt, you are awesome as well, and you do cool things. And I wanted to make sure I highlighted you, because part of this was the way that this made sense to me is to make sure that I managed to like use this moment to be like, I'm doing a cool thing with Nebula. This is amazing. I want to share this with other cool people because I want other people to be able to talk about themselves and being amazing and being wonderful. So Matt, you are wonderful and amazing, and I wanted to pass it to you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm psyched that this is. It's funny. Again, I heard about this when we were where I bumped into your call, and I was so excited. Like the concept that you told me about for this was just super fun. So like this is just very cool for me to be here to be on the announcement of it. I'm doing well myself.
Sorry, I put you in the deer in the headlights. Sorry.
We're just still churning out animated, historical, and game design content at extra credits.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just also wanted to make sure
and that's very kind. No, I mean, I'm playing a lot of D&D. Does that count?
Yes,
I'm trying to rope Dave in at a certain point.
Oh, I'm in.
We're in New York.
That would be interesting for Dave.
Everybody deserves to play some D&D and stuff, or any TTRPG.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Powered by the
The reason I'm hovering around too is because I've done stuff with Matt.
Yes.
That's what
totally
I was getting to.
Yes.
Which is very strange. Again, and like to have both Dave, Aaron, and Jet, like this entire sort of thing on the same call is really, really, because Aaron's written for us. We do streams together. She's been on one of our D&D streams back in the day. So like to have this like parts of my life all meshing together for a very, very cool reason is just I don't know. It's making me all smiles. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm
the metaverse is colliding is like just to make it topical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in a couple more.
All right.
People.
I'm gonna say farewell.
Everyone send love to Aaron. Chat send love to Aaron. Aaron's amazing.
Aaron.
Yes.
Real quick before you go, something that Dave and I do. Can you give us the 3-word review of your Star Trek cruise?
Ooh. Oh God. That is so mean. Okay. Inspirational. I'm gonna cheat. Heartbreaking / warming.
Take it. I like it.
And family. So thank you all. This was a pleasure. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Dave. It's good to see you, Matt. I'll see you around.
Thank you, Aaron. I could not do this project without you, and I'm so excited to spend the next few months just like making this thing with you. It's gonna be amazing, and we're gonna kick ass. So.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you everyone in the chat who's watching and supporting this. And we're gonna go do amazing things together.
Hell yeah!
Until next time. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right, who are we bringing on? Hey.
Vera.
Hey.
And once Vera's introduced themselves, I'll bring in another person.
Yes.
Hi, Vera.
Hello. Hi. Vera, you there? Oh no.
I am here. Have you got me?
I do. I hear you. Can't see. I don't know if are you going to be on camera? Don't know if you're just going to do voice or not.
It's on. I'm turning it back on.
There we go. Yeah.
When you change channels, I'm going to go give people that warning.
Yeah.
Green room.
Okay.
Hello, Vera.
There we go.
How are you? I guess Vera, how are you?
I am here. I'm good. I am broadcasting from an undisclosed location.
Yeah, I was like, that's not your normal spot.
No, it's not.
By the way, to introduce you, well, Vera, introduce yourself because I don't know if you know everyone who's on the call. So,
my name is Vera Wild. I do way too much stuff. I am best known for the YouTube channel Council of Geeks, but I am also an author, a burlesque performer. I've been banned from TikTok twice. I've got a resume I'm building.
Yes, and you're also my podcast partner for Jumpgate, and also a great friend, and also the voice of the intro of yes, please share.
Can I talk about that?
Yes, please. Well, let me just to give preface to people. Okay. So if you watch the Kickstarter video, you are the voice of the like kind of plot teller at the beginning of that video. So
yeah, that trailer's version of the in a world voice. That's me. What's funny is you'd asked me to do it. You sent me the script, and I did, a handful of takes. And then the very last one I did, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll kind of do a GLaDOS thing. You probably won't use it, but like something just in me wants to do that. And it was literally the last take I did. It was basically a goof take, and that was the one you went with.
It was. And I love it. Also gave me, if you watch the video, I added like a reverb where there's like a deeper pitch version and a higher pitch version of it when it like goes male, female. And I was like, I only got that idea because you did the weird GLaDOS voice, which I thought was perfect. You always give me like the weird take, and I always take the weird take whenever you give me voiceover for stuff.
Weird takes are always lovely. I'm gonna Jason from Not Just Bikes.
Jason, hello.
Hi, Jason, introduce yourself.
I'm here. I suddenly disappeared from the green room, and
you just suddenly appeared.
Turn the camera on.
Yes, turn the camera on. Here we go. We got to do that again.
You coming back?
Hi, everybody.
Coming back from the bar.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, indeed. I am calling you from a hotel in Oslo. I
Nice.
did just get back from the bar, but I've got one more beer to finish here before because I check out tomorrow. So I'll have to take care of that before we're done here today.
Yeah. Hello. Well, welcome. Introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are in case they don't. Though I'm assuming most people know you, but you're amazing.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people wouldn't know my face, right?
Yeah,
maybe
fair.
they know the voice, but I don't have my normal mic with me. So anyway, I'm Jason from the YouTube channel Not Just Bikes. I make urbanist content, mobility, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I'm happy to be here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I love this project. This is so cool, and it's incredible that Nebula can do it, and we don't have to send you off to Kickstarter.
Yeah. the terrifying world of Kickstarter.
I know.
Send you
Can
off.
you imagine?
Yeah. Well, welcome, Jason.
Here's the one thing that I
Yeah.
here's the one thing that I regret about that is because I've done 2 Kickstarters, so I thought we were gonna have like all these stories to commiserate about
the war
about
stories.
the highs and lows of that. Now, like, oh no, you're just funded. Of course you are. Sure.
No, she's got the easy route out. Just get some Nebula funding.
But and also, Dave, I saw you were doing the streamception a second ago, which was fun.
Well, I've got Thomas Frank here with me. Say hi,
Hi.
Tom.
Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Tom.
Listening to the screen, which is only about 30 seconds. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well.
So I had Tom's phone here with the stream up, and we were taking note of how delayed it was, and so getting to like show the chat, show the viewers how delayed we're seeing them. For
Right.
I don't know what that's worth, but I thought it was funny.
That is really funny. No, it is always weird where I'm always like, part of the weird thing is I was watching the live video go up, but I was a few minutes ahead. And I'm like, oh god, I can't wait to see how everyone reacts to this part, or like when Aaron pops out or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, it was
Right.
great. It's interesting to always see the delay. So
Yeah, the live stream delay is always an issue. But I do bicycle live streams sometimes on a channel called NJB Live. So I'm riding a bike and interacting with chat, but then there's the delay on there and the fact that I can't look at chat all the time while I'm riding. So it can end up being an absolute mess trying to respond to anything. They'll talk about, hey, you got to turn right here. And it'll be like 3 blocks later before I read it.
Oh, I noticed it becomes like a recurring conversation loop in live streams because you'll
Yep.
start
right,
talking about
Yeah,
something and then you'll finish the subject, but then the live stream will finally hit it and they'll start mentioning it, and then you'll bounce off of what they were just saying, going back to the topic
Right.
you had just finished, and it creates an infinite conversation loop.
It's like time loops.
Exactly.
We could talk about Star Trek here if you want, Jesse.
I
know
mean,
that'll
Didn't I? Was it you that I ranted that we were just like on a boat, and I just like ranted at you
you're
the
right.
best way to watch every single Star Trek series?
Yeah, we did. We talked about Star Trek for like the whole boat ride back there.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, and I felt
One more
bad
time,
afterwards.
just very quickly.
Yeah.
To bring Corey in.
Oh, yes, please.
On his 12 tone. All right, and
All right.
Corey.
Hey.
Also,
Hey,
can we,
Corey.
Jesse? Would you mind sending the Discord link over to Thomas?
Yes, of course. I will do that right now. But yes, 12 Toad, welcome. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Oh, my camera's not on, is it?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
being weird.
it's the curse of
That's
room
happening
moving.
too.
There he
Yeah.
is. Oh, there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, there's
we
a
got
dog.
And so I'm gonna quick.
Sorry, introductions can wait. I want to look at this
Attention.
dog.
Pixel.
Puppers. Cute little puppers. Look at them. Well, everyone can just leave right now. This has now become a puppy stream.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care. I
Well, it
cancel
was good to
everything.
talk to
Yeah.
Let me just send Thomas this. Do.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, welcome. Sorry, I'm in the middle of sending Discord.
We
Yeah.
all just zoned straight
I
on
guess we don't have to
Pixel.
wait for Jesse to talk, right? We can just
Apologies. No, I'm
carry
trying to
on
do
here.
too many
No,
things
you're
at
That's
once.
why
You're
she
good,
brings
you're
all of us on, so she doesn't
Yes.
have to talk the whole time.
Please, welcome. Sorry, legitimately, I hope I'm doing okay. This isn't you to all say pat me on the back. I hope I'm doing okay because legitimately, I thought like I have plans for today. I know what I'm going to say to everybody, and then legitimately, I'm throwing this to you, all of you, chat, because you're all amazing and lovely. When I was watching the chat like do the video, I was like overwhelmed. So I'm like been trying to like recenter myself again the past few minutes. So it's just been I hope I'm doing good and not seeming too discombobulated. So.
you're doing lovely,
Great,
Jesse. Don't
Jesse.
beat yourself up.
So, well, thank you. Welcome to my anxiety. But yes, welcome.
Yes.
So-
Hello.
How you doing? How's things? How's life? Introduce yourself. Let everyone know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Corey. I make the YouTube channel 12 Tones sometimes, and I most of the time, if I'm being honest. But yeah, no, I'm a music theorist. I make stuff about music, and I draw elephants, and sometimes they look like elephants.
I adore your
About like.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, elephants are the
thank you.
best. They're so cute.
Thank you.
Whenever I watch your videos, because I've watched a few, and I'm like, only took music back in high school, and I played trumpet for several years and took lessons and stuff. And then I'm like listening, it's like I have vague recollections of this, and this is so interesting, but also I don't remember. You're like way above me.
Yeah, I feel the same way watching those videos. I love 12-tone videos. They're fantastic.
Well, thank you.
But I also haven't really done music since I was in high school. I did a lot. I did lots of music theory. I played clarinet. I did guitar. And I was in lots and lots of bands, a jazz band and stuff. But it is fun to watch it because it's just like Jessie said. You skip, oh yeah, I remember some of this. And then it just goes to this level. You're like, okay, I never knew any of that.
I watch 12-tone videos coming from a place of no music. I faked my way through band in high school. I pretended to play the trumpet, and now I can just learn from a fresh start.
There's a.
I love 12-tone videos, but I keep getting them confused with Devon's tone videos.
Oh my god.
There's a story
a little bit of indoor baseball.
Great.
My entire
Great reference, Dave. Perfect callback.
If you want to know the level of musician that I'm at, there is a story that whenever I go back home, because I went to school, like high school, at like a small like farming community, and there's a story that they still all tell that I go back in where I was in, I think, 7th grade, and I had to do there was some assembly, and I had to play the Star Spangled Banner on the trumpet. And I would play, I was like, dang it. And then at one point I literally hit my head on the trumpet because I was screwing up in front of an entire audience of people. And that was 12 or 13 years old. And people will not let me live this down to this day. So that's my, people know me as a musician story.
Yeah, I did when I was in elementary
growing
school.
up in a small town, no matter what you do.
People
I was
remember.
Gonna say, isn't that great about growing up in a small town? No matter what you do, and no matter what you're known for on the wide stage, they're like, "Hey, remember that time you did this nonsense?" Oh,
it's they will never let you forget. They will never let you forget ever. It's great.
Yeah.
That's why I don't go back to my home. That's the reason, not the urban planning.
The fun thing about being trans is that now that's becomes a talking conversation in small town stuff. That it's like, oh, you forgot that. Thank God. Just talk about my gender identity. Forget the embarrassing trumpet stories.
We're not talking about the trumpet thing.
I came out specifically so you would all talk about that and not the trumpet story.
I mean, that's
is that what identity is about?
That is actually what it's about. It really is just about someone being very embarrassed, and he's like, you know what? I'm trans now. You'll talk about this.
Such an embarrassing childhood. I'm trans.
Just an extended intro about a trumpet.
Yes.
You get a backstory for the trumpet itself as well.
Yeah. Can we get Aaron? Can we get Aaron back on? I need to tell her I'm changing the whole script. It's happening right now. But sorry, I'm just trying to recenter. But yeah, thank you again for coming. I appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah, it's excellent.
So,
congrats on the series, or not the series, the show.
Yeah, thank you. And Jason, what are you filming right now? By the way, that you're in an undisclosed location.
Well, I can disclose location. I am in Oslo, so I have wanted to come here for a while. I haven't been here for years, but they've been doing so much stuff to improve the city. They've been removing parking spaces like crazy and putting tolls in and building bike lanes and all this stuff. So I wanted to come and see it, and yeah, I mean I found a cheap flight from Amsterdam, so I'm here just for 4 days and oh my God, it's a lot of work filming these videos. Sometimes I wonder why I don't just use stock footage like everybody else. But I've spent the last few days walking around for 8 hours a day, filming about 300 gigabytes of video per day, and of like what's going on here. And I think I've got, in my head at least, I've got about 3 videos out of this. So yeah, this is how the sausage is made. It's good. It's really good. And wow, this is just a fantastic city. And I have to say, it's weird, like how little car traffic there is here. You know, like people keep saying, like, how do we fix traffic? I'm like, they literally fix traffic here. There's no traffic, even rush hour. I actually posted to the Oslo subreddit. I say, is there like a holiday today that I don't know about? Because there's so little traffic, and everyone was like, nope, this is normal. I'm like, damn it, you guys fix traffic.
Hi, Jessie.
How are you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jason. How are you? It's so good to see you.
No problem.
She can't hear the audio, so she didn't know you were talking.
Oh, nice. Did she see the waves at least?
Yeah.
Do you want to come over and say hi?
Come say hi.
Julia's here.
Julia, how are you? It's good to see you.
Hey,
It's been
Julia.
a hot minute.
I missed you.
Missed you as well.
Jesse asked, how are you?
Good.
You're yeah, you can't hear me. It's good to
Here.
hear. Yes.
Oh.
It's-
There you go.
no, I want all of
Room.
our conversations should be relayed through Dave at this point.
She's got an AirPod now.
No,
We're good.
I know.
We're good.
No, Julia, it's good to see you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very good. I've like
Well, when are you coming here?
I hopefully soon. One would hope. I don't know. That would be on Dave. When are you having me there?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
That door is open, Jesse.
All right. Well, I will be there sometime soon. I will make plans.
Come on out.
Yeah. But I also still, Julia, I still want you to like help me find like clothes and actually make me like actually
Fashion trip.
exactly.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, but yeah, hello. But yeah, Jason, I wanted to mention before we were talking, not to cut away too much from what you're saying, but I wanted to say what I love about your videos and what I love about like conversations that we had were the fact that like I love that you like talk about like how different like systems and urban planning sort of talks about how like different cultures and cities and places actually like can think about things in new ways than how we actually think about it today. Like we had like I think like a long conversation about like different ways that cities are set up, and I thought it was really cool. And it kind of matches what I was thinking about with like this project about how there are different ways to think about stuff than how we initially think about it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I've traveled so much and I've seen so many different places, and I want to share that with people. Well, exactly like this trip, like coming here and seeing it myself, because I don't believe in making videos just based off of what you read on Twitter and some Guardian articles or something like that. I want to see it for myself, and it's a lot of work. But it's actually really incredible to travel to all these different places and just see how things are done. And what's been amazing to me, like making the channel about when I talk about the Netherlands, is that when I talk to Dutch people, they don't know this stuff's different because they haven't been, to America or something, right? So I think that's what's really important, is just sharing how different things work in different parts of the world. Yeah, I mean it's fantastic. It's really eye-opening on all fronts.
Yeah.
Well, it's that normality bias. When you're so used to how things function, it becomes invisible. You're not even aware that it is a purposeful construct of society until someone says, it doesn't have to be this way. And you go, what?
You know what's been really funny to me about like when I talk to Europeans about almost any subject about like say America, because they've seen movies, right? So like they'll see movies and I'll tell them something, I'll be like, wait, that's real? I thought that was just a movie thing. Like for example, there was a really funny conversation I was having with some Dutch people about how there's like jocks and there are nerds, right? Like that's a concept, that there's jocks and nerds. And they were like, that's real? Like I really thought that was like a movie trope. Because they don't have that concept here.
It depends what generation you come from. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
And also,
as the Jen said, that wasn't really a thing that we had. Like it was a movie thing for sure, but like there was a lot of nerdy sport people and
well, it's interesting too, because I also think like stuff like that reinforces how we think about like pop culture things reinforce like how kids are supposed to be in like social groups. Because one thing I was having a conversation with somebody about I think it was Spider-Man Homecoming. And, you know, I've thoughts about the MCU generally. But what I liked about that movie specifically is how it was like a high school movie that showcased like kind of everyone getting along for the most part. Like even like Spider-Man's supposed bully in that movie is just like kind of just like a weird dork who like it's just kind of mean, but still like part of the friend group. And I kind of liked that instead of it being like you get like Mean Girls where it's like super cliquey sort of stuff. And it's interesting how like pop culture sort of reinforces but then also reflects how we think about like the world that we live in and how all these things sort of bounce off of each other.
It's the creation of boxes, right? And once a box exists, people feel some draw to exist within it, to belong. Teenagers have a really strong impulse towards wanting to belong. So if you create an environment where the expectations that you fit within one of these boxes, not all teenagers, but a number of them will, to some degree, try to perform those boxes. So I worked as a coach for a very long time, so
no, but that makes total sense.
You think about when you're trying to make sure that you have a positive atmosphere is if you create an environment where certain behavior is expected and normalized, kids that might behave in a certain way in another context will behave very differently in that context.
Yeah.
People naturally code switch and aren't aware of it often.
I was gonna say Vera like speaks about this a lot.
If
so I was
you
gonna
want,
throw it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, if you want to take that same concept and just apply it to something that obviously Jessie and I and Aronach are fairly familiar with, is just queerness and gender identity. There's a reason that people my age and older have a very strong tendency to discover themselves much, much, much later than Gen Z is proving to, because we didn't know all the boxes. And a lot of us probably went, like, even setting aside just being closeted, but a lot of us probably went through multiple gender identities, going through periods of thinking, oh, okay, that may not be exactly it, but I found a box and it's kind of close, so I guess I'm that. And simply not knowing what the options are. Like, I didn't discover the term gender fluid until I was 34 years old. And prior to that, I identified as a cis male crossdresser because that was the closest damn thing I had.
No,
I wrote an entire video about this.
I was gonna say I'm writing a video about that very same thing, but yeah, Aronach, please.
My film Queer Relativity, which actually got on the British Film Institute's top essays of the year list last year, which is cool.
Nice.
Is about this concept and the relationship between linguistic relativity and queer conception of the self, and that relationship with temporality. So, and it's a thing of when you don't allow people to have the space and the knowledge to be able to label themselves accurately. It's not that those identities aren't what they have, it's just that they have no way of being able to discuss it. And that is part of the purpose of a lot of the current legislative action that is occurring in the US in particular, but also in the UK and to a much smaller extent Canada. So what you get is an attempt to erase access to books, access to knowledge, creation of art, which directly engages with queerness, because if you can restrict the language, then people can't label themselves as something, and then you can say that it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I didn't know about transness until I was, a young adult, and I still had all of those feelings, and I still had all that struggle and trying to understand myself. But it wasn't until I was friends with other trans people where I was learning things that I could actually begin to put a name to it. And people mistake that, right, ability to name yourself or understand your experience as conversion, which is become a very awful thing that they do a lot. But it's like, yeah, of course a person's only going to start calling themselves trans once they know what trans is.
Yes.
You can't.
You're not just going to invent the word.
Exactly.
We have a shared language for this stuff now that we didn't have even, I think, 10 years ago. My understanding, and I get it, my position even on the call here is certainly, it's interesting because I'm the cishet white dude in a position of authority. And I'm comfortable with who I am, but I think that if the language had been different when I was growing up, I wouldn't have ended up in a different place. but I think my journey getting here would have been a little bit different. The way I think about things would have been a little bit different, because there are certainly thoughts that I've had, or feelings I've had, or experiences I've had that I didn't know, as you say, what box to put those in, or how to process these things, or how to think about these things. And when I look around now, I'm so inspired by the people from within the queer community, the trans community, because there's when the destination, for me, the destination I end up arriving to is kind of the path of least resistance, right? It is easy to end up here, or it is easy for a person who has ended up here relative to a person who's ended up in a different place. And at the same time, I've never felt a special like affinity for sports or a lot of traditionally masculine activities. So like, if your spectrum is either you are gay or you are straight and you don't like sports, it's a lot harder to contextualize, well, who am I? Is there something to like people calling me these names? How should I think about myself? And so for like the Gen Z kids being able to process these things with a much wider range of shared vocabulary, probably a lot healthier for everybody.
And I was also
the reality for. Oh, sorry, Jesse.
Oh, sorry. Just to cut in, because there's a few things I actually want to say on that too. Like, sadly he couldn't make it because he was planning on being here, but some stuff came up. But Foreign Man, who's a wonderful creator who I adore to death.
He's great.
He's one of the
awesome.
loveliest humans. Chat, please send some love to Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, because he is amazing and a fantastic creator who you should all subscribe to.
He really is.
Sadly not able to be
one of the best people.
But he made a great video that I adored, where he sort of because in our society today, we sort of take as a given, like, oh, you're a straight dude, and like we don't really question that assumption, and you only come to like have to reckon with that if you are seen outside of that box, and you have to sort of like sit there and think about it and actually come to reckon with that. And he did a really great video where he said, "Am I a straight man?" And he actually sat and like analyzed his own journey to being like, am I straight, and like going out and like seeing like, well, am I attracted to dudes, am I not? And it wasn't a way of like, there wasn't like a sense of self-emasculation or like denying himself. It was just like a journey of exploring something that we take as a given. And I thought he did such a wonderful job in that video. So I wanted to shout that out. And then just to talk about the thing that I'm promoting here is Identities is quite literally about this. Like the whole idea of the whole short film is about people who are told that they have to be one thing or another, that they have like a choice, quote unquote, to be able to be something, but the two choices aren't fitting who they are anyways. And so it's about, how do we define ourselves when we have to live in a system that tells us that these are the only ways to define yourself, and you don't fit in either of those boxes? I think
like, what do you call yourself when you're 97% straight?
Yeah, exactly. No,
and like I talk about this at the end of queer relativity, but this is why I don't like the idea that you need to be labeled, or that you need to put yourself in a box. I don't like the idea of boxes. That's why I approach labels not as a taxonomy, you know, because I think a lot of people approach it as a taxonomy. Like they treat it like you're like, I diagnose you with this species.
You are this
identity. It's about using words to communicate something to other people. It's a tool, not a box. And when you can engage with that, it can help you to better conceptualize yourself. And this is why I think it's really important that cis people, and you talked about this a little bit, Dave, there, but that even if you are not queer, engaging with that conversation with yourself will give you a better understanding what your identity means to yourself. In your case, what being a man means. My friend Turb just released a video called The Gasification of Masculinity, which I actually edited, and Foreign's in it as well. There's a lot of really good conversation between Foreign, FT Signifier, and Turb, and
that's a great video too.
And Fantastic Fox. It's a great video, and a lot of that is exploring that aspect of re-examining and redefining masculinity in a modern context from a marginalized perspective. And I think Identities as a project, and like what Jessie and I have discussed around it, is about exploring a lot of these concepts, which is partly why I took the conversation in this direction. But I'm going to make sure.
I remember.
I'm going to cut in for a second. Sorry. We have a lot of other guests that need to come on, so I'm gonna shuffle people out. I'm really sorry. In like 2 minutes. So, final thoughts from everybody on this conversation, and then I'm booting you.
It's almost 10:30 p.m.
That's
here
fine.
for me anyway.
Yeah.
So I
That's
should
why
probably
I'm
get
doing
going.
All right.
But Vera,
Who
you
wants
had
to go first?
Vera, you
Yeah.
had a thing.
I was just going to say, I had a conversation on a podcast a few years ago, and the person who I was talking to I forget the exact statistic now, but it was something like from Southern California, and it was like 30% of high school students were identifying as some form of queer gender identity. And that was presented to me as if something I should be concerned about. My immediate response to that was great. And even when the other person came back, but a lot of them are going to end up not holding to that identity. So I think one of the healthiest things anyone can do is to take something that they are certain about themselves and just question it.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you're going to end up right back where you start, but you'll understand why you're there, and you'll know it's not by default.
Yeah.
Why is that a harmful concept?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I
Aren't we
always tell,
supposed to learn and explore?
exactly. I always tell
You
people.
would think so.
I always tell
would-
people
yeah.
whenever people, because I get a lot of people asking me advice about like, Jesse, I think I might be trans. What do I do? Or like things, because I get messages like that. And the thing I always say is like, give your chance the grace to explore. You do not have to be one thing. Play with stuff, and if you just like you go like try like wearing these clothing, or try expressing yourself these ways, or try using these pronouns, and it's okay if at the end of the day you're like, doesn't actually fit. It's about finding who you are. It's about like discovering yourself, and that's the journey of life. Life is about that discovery, and it only becomes a problem when we exist in a world that forces us to be certain ways, or says that you're less than if you are deviating from the quote unquote norm in any way.
And
there's
on that, which is,
go ahead.
Well, Aaron, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure
yeah,
other
no.
folks get a chance to speak.
Absolutely, just like literally 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Identity is a journey for one, and then two, I think the harm that they see is the terrifying concept that they might be other.
Yeah.
Because they understand hating the other to some degree. Even if they maybe don't personally engage a ton with that hate, they understand that hate exists. And it's sort of that thing of, if you stare into the abyss, it's like, that might tell me something, and I don't want to. It's the terrifying aspect of knowing the self, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be quiet now.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to make sure anyone else, Matt or Jason, or please, Corey.
No, I just before I get booted, I wanted to mention this isn't the same thing, but I think there's an important parallel to be drawn to the world of like neurodiversity, because I'm autistic.
Me as well, yeah.
And this happens a lot where like I've had a lot of friends reach out and be like, hey, I think I might be autistic, and I'll talk to them about it and send them some resources, and sometimes they'll be like, yeah, okay, I think I am, and sometimes they won't. But like this is something that I didn't really come to terms with about myself until my mid-20s. Like it was something I knew, like that I had a diagnosis from earlier, from like my teen years, but like for a lot of my like young adult life, there was this period where I was just like, oh, I'm really bad at a lot of things, and like I'm weird in these ways that I can't pin down, and there's just a lot of things that don't quite make sense to me about the way that I interact with the world.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like around like 2015, 2016, I was like, you know what? I'm autistic. I know this about myself. Maybe that means something, and maybe and being able to use that to sort of figure out myself, and to figure out how I wanted to interact with the world, and take all of these things that I couldn't explain and just tuck them neatly in this one little label. And obviously my autistic experience is not going to be the same as anyone else's, but it's still been very helpful to be able to ask that question about myself, and to be able to find that answer about myself.
I agree. And one thing that I'll keep this brief so we can get to other people, but one thing that I want to do a video on at some point is about the connection between neurodiversity and transness, because there is a correlation between people who are trans and people who are on the autism spectrum, like myself. And a lot of people.
The statistics show a correlation between coming out young.
Yes, and
being autistic.
Well, the
and
thing. Well,
it's important.
that's what that's
Sorry.
no. And but the reason
brain is like
no, I hear you. And the reason that is clear, people will use it to stigmatize trans and say, oh, it's da 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 da, like they'll try to like delegitimize someone's transness. But the way that I think about it is that I don't think there's like more folks that happen to be autistic and trans. It's more that people who are on the autism spectrum or neurodiverse in some way often have to see ourselves at a distance from how we fit into the world because our brains are not like set up in the way that, you know, society rewards. Yeah. And because of that, they are also able to see how like trans people who are also autistic or neurodivergent will also have like that chance to be like, oh, I might also be this thing. And because they already have that sort of like distance to look at the world. And it
just makes it harder to be someone you're not. And so
it's a couple of combinations, which is less care about societal expected role performance. That's one aspect of autism. It's just baseline. But two, that when we talked about earlier, the fear of being the other. If you're already the other, it's what are you gonna lose?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Well, I want to throw to Matt and Jason and Dave and Vera just to sort of promote themselves and say what you're doing, who you are again for everybody, because everybody in chat, these are all everyone on screen right here. Except for Vera, who's awful. I literally everyone on screen right now is absolutely amazing and wonderful, and I adore each and every one of them. And you should all support them. And also, Dave, I'm sending again a thank you to you for supporting me, supporting this project, and doing this. I know you're about to say like, well, it just made sense because that's what Nebula does, but it really does mean a lot.
Actually, my final thought on this actually ties really well with what Corey was just saying about the connection between neurodivergence and transness or queerness or whatever. Because I've been thinking a lot lately about the things about us that other people can see and the things about us that other people can't see. I have a hearing disability, which doesn't manifest as not being able to hear as well. It manifests as it's called hyperacusis. Certain sounds, volumes, or certain frequencies will cause me pain, and this leads to a number of awkward social situations where I have to like choose a different seat, or I can't go to a certain restaurant, or there's all this stuff. And because it's not a visible disability, it's the sort of thing I just kind of come off as being a fussy jerk sometimes, and I know
how you feel.
Yeah.
Corey's like, yeah, you do.
It makes it really, really nice to go to dinners that Dave plans, because those things bother me too, being autistic, and so I know I won't have to deal with them.
So you mean they won't have the band like at Margaritaville?
Oh God!
Yeah.
That's a story.
I think about this a lot lately because in the framework, we just did all this stuff for the Prince, and then I had Abby on my podcast, and we spent a bunch of time together that week. And I've been thinking a lot about like, why is it that I feel so strongly about things like supporting certain types of creators, marginalized groups, and this sort of thing? And I think that it comes down to there are things about ourselves that we can understand or process because that's how other people see us. If you're missing a leg, then other people can see that you're missing a leg. And there's not a ton of conversation to be had there. This is a thing. It is understood. We all move on. If there are things about yourself that are harder to explain, you kind of have to make choices about what you share about yourself to the other, what you choose to telegraph to the rest of the world. I may feel this gender identity. Is it worth the headache of transmitting that, telegraphing that to the world? Yeah. I may have these thoughts or feelings about this kind of social situation. Is it worth telegraphing that to the world? And unlike, I don't want to I'm picking extreme examples, but things that are visible, you don't really have that choice. When you have the choice, I'm not saying it's better or worse, but it is different, because then you have to sort of explore not just who you are, but what you're willing to admit that you are to others, which will affect what you can admit you are to yourself. And so there's this connection, I think, sort of between like the way I see and feel things socially, the way I literally will hear things, and the way I think about things like disability or mental health. And I feel that there's such a through line here of trying to process and understand who you are, that maybe there is like, I have more empathy or more of an understanding, or I want to support people who struggle with those same sorts of problems, even if they don't manifest necessarily in the same way that mine do. So it's so cool to get to support projects like this, or to work with creators who don't look like me or don't sound like me or don't see the world exactly the same way I do, because so much of that is the battle within, and I can identify with the battle within.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much agreed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited we get to do this with you, Jesse.
I am
It is amazing.
sorry.
Yeah.
On the stream. I'm gonna move people out just so that we can get other guests in.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
so bad.
lightning
But Matt and
round.
Vera,
Oh, no,
like,
kick me out. Kick me out.
You got so many people that want to come in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lightning
I
round.
was,
can
Just
see
say
the
your.
I'm just gonna say one.
Feel bad,
Yeah.
bad that I have to be the mean person because
No.
No.
My only thing is, I think this
You're doing a good job.
conversation about the film itself that we're here to sort of celebrate its announcement of is really wonderful to the points of all like not having terminology growing up. I'm like 296 years old, so like I didn't like the way that the conversation has changed is absolutely sort of wonderful, and this is like another beautiful step in that. I think this project is going to do a lot to just keep that vernacular and everything sort of moving forward in that. So Jesse, congratulations! I'm looking forward to seeing this, and thanks for letting me hang out and chat with y'all.
Thank you for being here. You are awesome, and I'm so glad that I've gotten to know you over the past few months. You are amazing and wonderful and an amazing human being.
Come to the East Coast.
Yes. Let's see. So I think Aaron's gonna bring stuff. Is there anyone? Jason, why don't you promote yourself, and Vera, promote yourself before we all disappear?
All right. Well, I don't really feel a need to promote myself. I'm happy to just be here to promote your.
I want to
project,
promote you. I
honest.
just want everyone to know that
That's
cool people do
perfectly
cool
fine.
things. So
If you want to be angry about the city you live in and learn to hate things you didn't even know you needed to hate, then
I mean, I live in LA, so yes.
yeah. Oh God, believe me. I having lived in LA, dear Lord. Anyways.
I never lived in LA, but I did live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I can remember a few times when I drove through LA, and it was just like, how can people live like this? Like I was in traffic for 8 hours once, like 8 full hours, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, does nobody look at this and think like, fuck, we're doing it all wrong? But no, they don't.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I don't think I could live here if I didn't work from home, but.
Yeah,
I'm starting to think Jason doesn't like cars.
maybe.
I drive too, man. You know, I just not too many of them. You need fewer cars, smaller cars, and drive slower, and then we're all right.
Vera,
Use it when you're-
you also promote yourself, and then you should probably rotate people out. So
Yeah.
So you just want me to go through my stuff routine at this point?
do stuff. I don't know. I'm trying my best. I just want people to be promoted and be lovely and amazing. Sorry.
It's fine. If folks don't know what we're referencing, at the end of the Jumpgate podcast on the Council of Geeks podcast network, which Jesse and I do together, we just go, we'll promote your stuff. Anyways, my stuff, Council of Geeks on YouTube. You will find video essay style content on queer topics as well as general geeky topics. I talk about Doctor Who a lot. But if you are interested in things more singularly focused on my experiences as a gender fluid person and or some spicy content, you can look for Vera Wild spelled WYLDE, YouTube, TikTok, some place that's only meant for a certain kind of person, fans, I think they're called. I don't know. This around. Check it out.
Sweet. Awesome. Hell yeah. All right.
Bye.
All right. Love you all. Rotating
All right,
people.
cheers.
I adore you all. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for being here, and you are all lovely.
Disappear. Smoke bomb.
Thanks, Jesse. Good luck with everything.
You're lovely. All right, who are we bringing on? Oh God, it's like the Brady Bunch. You just wave for a while.
I'm just going to just keep waiting until I'm gone.
Oh. I did the wrong thing. I kicked instead of disconnected.
Oh no!
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I think you're fine.